I want to spend a few minutes talking with you about the concept of flow, a state in which life seems to begin supporting you on its own. You may have thought about this before, or perhaps you've never looked at your life from this perspective, but the fact remains, you are constantly sending information into the quantum field and receiving information from it. This process never stops. You are a vibrational being, continuously radiating energy, even if you're unaware of it. And to truly begin experiencing flow in your life, there are certain principles I've discovered through observation, research, and practice. These principles can directly and profoundly influence your future, and I want to share them with you. Most people, as I see it, live in a constant state of reacting to external conditions. They react to familiar people and colleagues, to places they visit, to circumstances, events, and tasks that repeat day after day. We interact with the world by responding to what happens to us. There is nothing wrong with this. It's a natural way of living. We all respond to the circumstances of our lives. However, the result of these reactions is emotion. And emotions, when you look deeper, are the past, a record of experiences already lived. And here arises an important question. What happens if your attention is focused most of the time on emotions of the past? The core rule is this: you cannot create your future if your attention and energy are trapped in the emotions of the past. So here is the first key principle. If you live each day in the same emotional states that are the result of past events, you are essentially living in the past, even if time appears to be moving forward. Where your attention goes, your energy inevitably follows. The more you fixate on familiar emotional reactions, the more energy you invest into experiences that have already happened. And so the first rule is this: if your energy remains in the past, it cannot be directed into the future. If we take this idea further, it becomes clear. To change your life and begin truly shaping your destiny, you must change your energy. Your thoughts constantly influence the quantum field, transmitting information. Your feelings return energy to you in the form of experience. Emotions act as a magnetic charge, creating attraction. Everything that appears in your life is drawn to you in one form or another. The combination of how you think and how you feel forms an electromagnetic signal that influences every aspect of your reality, from relationships and health to opportunities and life direction. For the desired to appear in your life, you must combine a clear intention with an elevated emotion before the event actually happens. In other words, if you can feel the emotions of your future in advance, you entered the flow state. You stop chasing life and begin creating a counter-movement, a flow of new events, opportunities, circumstances, coincidences, and synchronicities that come to you without excessive effort or struggle. Our research and observations show when you combine a clear intention, a conscious, precise vision of your desired future, with an elevated emotion from the heart, whether gratitude, inspiration, joy, or freedom, this combination begins transmitting new information into the quantum field. The longer you hold this state of being, the more remarkable and tangible the changes become. Your body gradually gets pulled toward the new future, or that future begins moving toward you. And here arises another important question. What are you broadcasting into the quantum field day after day? This is the third key principle. The emotions you experience in reaction to external circumstances are emotions of the past. Primary emotional states of reactivity, anger, aggression, hatred, irritation, judgment, envy, jealousy, fear, anxiety, worry, guilt, shame, and depression are direct consequences of stress hormones. These emotional states literally drain the body's life energy. When this happens regularly, the electromagnetic field around the body begins to change at the chemical level. The light field contracts, becomes less ordered, and weakens. We've measured these changes. If a person remains in this state again and again, they simply no longer have the energy to create a new future, to heal, to experience abundance, or to fulfill their purpose. They become more matter and less energy, more particle and less wave. In this state, a person becomes matter trying to change matter. And in this mode, it is impossible to be in flow. When we are disconnected from the informational field that generates flow, we begin to define reality solely through the five senses. We say, "I am here, and my dream is over there." A sense of lack, separation, and distance arises between ourselves and what we desire. And then comes the need to control, to struggle, to push and force results, just to get a little closer to our goals. This is why so many people feel that flow is missing in their lives. They live more in the material dimension than in the energetic one. And again, the question arises, what are you broadcasting into the quantum field day after day? If your personality and perception are shaped mostly by memories of the past rather than a vision of the future, you continue to flow, but flow into the past, recreating the same circumstances over and over. To return to flow, you must consciously reconnect with the informational field. When you begin to open your heart and feel elevated emotions, the heart enters coherence, a state of order, wholeness, and unity. This is a measurable state in which the sense of separation dissolves and the feeling of connection strengthens. The magnetic field of the heart becomes clearer and begins to carry precise information. To do this, you must learn to release the addictive emotions of stress that keep you in the past and separate you from the future. Their chemical nature forces us to think materialistically and perceive reality through the lens of lack. But when we consciously generate elevated emotions, we begin to feel connected to something greater than ourselves. We start emotionally experiencing our future as if it has already happened. The energy that extends beyond the body becomes a powerful magnetic field carrying your intention and clear vision of the future. This is the energy practitioners use to change the brain, restructure their lives, and enter the flow state. Consider a simple, everyday example. In the morning, you have the thought to get out of bed and go to the bathroom. Instantly, an image of that familiar space appears in your mind. You don't even notice the process. The body is already moving where the thought directed it. No effort, no convincing, it happens automatically. The thought creates the direction, and the body obediently follows. The same happens when you think about breakfast. You see the kitchen, the table, the cup, the food you'll prepare or eat. Again, the body moves toward that inner image. You don't resist, doubt, or analyze. You simply follow the familiar mental script. This is how our biology and psychology work. The body always follows the image created by the mind. Now the important question. If this works for familiar actions, what happens if you use the same principle to create a new future? What happens if instead of focusing on the familiar and predictable, you consciously direct your attention to the unknown, to an experience you've never had? Where your attention goes, your energy flows. This is an unavoidable law. And if you repeatedly focus on a future that has not yet existed, you begin investing your energy there. Day after day, you visit that future with your consciousness, sending new information into it and gradually making it more real for your mind and body. When you combine your intention with elevated emotions, gratitude, inspiration, joy, freedom, you begin to attract the desired experience effortlessly. You no longer struggle for the result or try to control it. You enter alignment with your future. If you practiced this daily, your body would naturally follow your mind toward the unknown future just as easily as it follows the thought of going to the bathroom each morning. This is how the flow state emerges. In this state, results appear without tension through coincidences, synchronicities, sudden opportunities, intuitive insights, and unexpected encounters. These manifestations are not random. They are feedback from the environment, a signal that you have aligned with a greater universal intelligence. You are no longer acting alone. You become part of a larger process. And when you begin noticing these confirmations in your life, the emotions you feel in response become a powerful source of inspiration. These emotions literally propel you into further creation. You want to continue. You begin noticing signs, sensing direction, realizing you are moving toward your future. The energy of these emotions repeatedly initiates the creative process. This forms a closed but upward spiraling cycle of flow. The more often you create abundance and attract new experiences through elevated emotions, the more stable the flow becomes in your life. And when this state of being, how you think and how you feel, becomes consistent, you begin living internally connected to your future. You no longer wait for it, you are in it. If you can maintain this altered state of mind and body regardless of external circumstances, old emotions, habits, or even the sense of time, the changes in your life become measurable. They appear as specific events, people, opportunities, and outcomes. And what's especially important, these changes almost always arrive unexpectedly. They cannot be predicted because the predictable is only the continuation of the past. The new must surprise you, awaken you, make you pause and realize what you changed inside has truly changed the outside world. This is where the process becomes truly exhilarating. When you see the direct connection between inner change and outer results, you begin trusting the mechanism. You understand you can repeat the experience, and then the flow in your life intensifies even more. So what is the main mistake people make when they say, "I want abundance, I want a new relationship, I want freedom"? I can speak about this confidently because I've practiced these principles for many years. Most people form their desires while in a state of need. Their decisions are driven by the past, lack of money, painful relationships, feelings of control or limitation. They want the opposite of what they experienced, but they continue thinking from the same place. Very few people actually stop and ask, what does it mean to be wealthy? What does it mean to be truly free? What are healthy relationships? What does inner abundance feel like? This act of conscious reflection begins forming new neural networks in the brain. The more you know about the future you want to create, the more precisely and consciously you can shape it. Many want wealth, love, or freedom, but they don't have the neural architecture to live it. And without that inner structure, creating a new future is nearly impossible. The richer your imagination, the longer you can hold your attention on the desired future. The longer the attention is held, the stronger the intention becomes. Creating the future begins with rewiring neural connections, with teaching the brain to perceive that future as real and possible. When you think about your future long enough, mentally live it, emotionally feel it, the brain undergoes a kind of reprogramming. Neural networks activate and reorganize. The brain shifts from a passive structure to flexible software. As a result, you naturally begin thinking like someone who lives in abundance. You begin behaving like someone who loves themselves and life. More freedom appears in your world. And how you think, act, and feel forms your personality. Your personality directly shapes the reality you experience. So don't take these ideas on faith, test them. Become a researcher of your own life. Find time in your day, disconnect from external stimuli, close your eyes, play soft music or create a soundscape that helps you detach from the outside world. Seat your body, stop forcing it to react, move, or relive the same emotions. Let it be still. Tell your body you'll let it get up later. Step beyond your familiar personality, old emotions, and past-based expectations. Root yourself in the present moment. And from that state, begin building your future. Communicate to your body, through emotion, what that future will feel like. When you begin seeing the real fruits of this inner work, you prove to yourself that you are no longer a victim of circumstances. You become the creator of your life. And once you reach this point with an open heart, you begin trusting the unknown and the future more than you ever trusted the past. A life driven by stress hormones forces us to struggle, control, and push for results. But when we raise our energy, elevate our emotions, and connect with something greater, the need for struggle disappears. Experience begins coming to us. And the longer you hold your consciousness in this energy, the faster the future becomes your reality.